guys, what's up? It's Michelle. So, you know those people on Instagram and on YouTube who travel as a lifestyle and make it seem like this really glamorous adventure that's super cool?
And you watch their videos or see their posts and you're super inspired and you're like, wow, I want to go travel too and make my life as beautiful and wonderful seeming as theirs is.
Well, I'm here to burst that bubble for you. Something you almost never see on Instagram or YouTube about travel is getting sick. Now, I'm not talking about your average flu or allergies. I'm talking about food poisoning. So vomiting, diarrhea, high fevers, all that shit that you don't really want to take pictures of to show your friends and family. How many times did I have food poisoning? In my life, I've gotten food poisoning 3 times, and all 3 of those times have been during traveling, more specifically during my gap year in Latin America. The first time I got food poisoning was because I was actually already sick and really didn't feel like going out to look for food. So I figured, I'm just gonna eat the food that I bought like 3 days ago at the market that I put in the refrigerator. It's in the refrigerator, so hopefully it's still fresh. Long story short, it was not still fresh. I'm not gonna get that detailed, but I explosive diarrhea for like 3 days. And the second time I got food poisoning was actually worse. It was also in Guatemala, and the reason that it was worse is because I ate some funky meat instead of funky vegetables like I did the first time. What happened is that I was trying to do way too much in a very short amount of time. So one night it was already pretty late and I was traveling from this town to go camp in some Mayan ruins. But of course, before I go camp in these ruins, I have to have dinner first. So I stop at this place in this very small town, and pretty much everything is closed except for this kind of nice, touristy restaurant and this fried chicken stand on the side of the road. So a little bit about me, I'm very cheap, so obviously I chose the fried chicken stand. As I got closer to the fried chicken though, I noticed that there were these little bugs flying around it. Not gonna lie to you, the chicken tasted pretty good, but sure enough, the next morning I woke up at 4 a.m. and projectile vomited right outside of my tent. The Mayan ruins that I was camping in is called Tikal, and it's pretty remote in the northern part of Guatemala and one of the main attractions of the country. So I had splurged and bought this tour to go see Tikal during sunrise, which is why I had decided to camp there the night before. So I got my shit together, was super weak, but was like, okay, I think I got it all out of my system. I can go on my sunrise tour now. Nope, about a minute later, I projectile vomited again. And at this point was so weak and delirious that I could not find which tour group was mine. And instead of the one I booked, ended up with this Portuguese retiree tourism group. I don't know, but either way, they were all elderly and speaking Portuguese. So instead of climbing up the Mayan ruins to see the sunrise, I actually ended up napping in this archaeological park for like 4 hours on a bench, delirious. Yeah. My third time getting food poisoning was in Colombia. It actually might have been the water, I'm not totally sure, but basically I woke up one morning and had diarrhea, and the diarrhea got worse and worse and continued for like a week. And what made it even worse was that the day after I initially got sick, I flew from Medellin, which is this very temperate city in Colombia in the mountains, to northern Colombia, aka Cartagena, which is super humid, wicked hot, and the worst place to be dehydrated with diarrhea. So basically, my body was retaining no food or water, and I was sweating profusely for 7 days straight. In the end, I drank a lot of Pedialytes and took a couple activated charcoal pills, which are really good for clearing your system, and ate really simple foods, and slowly but surely it went away. Okay, I promise that the grossest, most TMI part of the video is over now. Another common thing about travel that you don't normally see on social media is getting really lonely. The majority of the time that I've traveled, I have been alone, and though solo travel has a lot of great benefits, oftentimes, understandably, you can get very lonely. Especially at the beginning of the trip, arriving at your first hostel can be very difficult because you didn't arrive with anyone from your previous hostel, and it seems like everybody else is either traveling with a friend or with friends that they met through travel. Either way, being the new kid on the block is not always easy. This isn't because people aren't nice, this is because it's actually very intimidating just going up to a bunch of new people and being like,
hey, I'm Michelle, I'm from the US.
After that first time though, you usually meet some friend who is going in the same direction as you, and then you probably book the same hostel in this next place where you'll meet more friends, and then so on. It's just like this snowball of friends that you travel with. But even that snowball can stop rolling sometimes, and you just find yourself with this period of time where you're just traveling alone again. And maybe you meet 1 or 2 or 3 people along the way, but they're only with you for a couple days, and in the long run you're still by yourself, and your friends are constantly changing every couple of weeks, which is pretty hard. Of course, a way to avoid this problem is traveling with a friend or a significant other, but that brings a whole other host of issues that I actually prefer not to deal with for very long-term travel.
Of course, it all looks great from the outside. I'm sure you've seen those travel vlogs or Instagram posts where people are like, oh, going on adventures with my bestie or my boo, and you're like, wow, their life seems so great.
What you don't see is the many, many petty arguments they're having over which restaurant to eat dinner at, which hostel to stay at, if they should stay another day in this place or go to the next place. You know, stupid things like that. Or you get into arguments about big things like flaws that the other person has. This is even worse because it can compromise your relationship or friendship. That being said, when you do get over the loneliness while traveling by yourself, or those petty arguments when traveling with a friend or significant other, the positives that come out of that experience are definitely worth it. As for solo travel, you become a much more independent person, and that sense of liberty and freedom and self-love and reliance is not something that can be communicated over social media. As for traveling with another person, your relationship or friendship becomes so much stronger from having that shared experience and going through both lows and highs together, and you know that no matter what comes for you guys in the future, you will be okay because you made it through that already. Social media also doesn't show you all the new friendships that you gain from travel. So for example, when I arrived in Arequipa, Peru, I met a group of 4 guys, each from different countries who were all solo travelers as well, and the next week I ended up going on a 4-day trek with 3 of them. After that trek, which was called Choqquequirao, the friend from Colombia went back home, and me and the other 2 guys who are from Chile and Italy found a couple other friends that we had also met at the same hostel in Arequipa, and we went on a 5-day trek together called Salcantay to go see Machu Picchu. The feeling of having these amazing adventures with people that were complete strangers to you a few weeks ago is an incredible feeling that once again doesn't really come across with pictures and posts no matter how much describing you do on social media. This video was supposed to be about spilling tea and digging up dirt, and all of a sudden I made it all positive again. Shit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing about the side of travel that you don't normally see on social media. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting per usual. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Peace.